to my presentation on our score report. My name is Anna Johnson and this is for the class EFD 620. Today in this presentation we're going to be looking at the demographics for 5th grade for our 2016-17 year. You'll kind of learn a little bit more about STAR benchmark and STAR progress monitoring. You'll learn about our STAR math results, and this is for 5th grade. We'll talk about our benchmark data and our growth report data. And we'll also talk about the different strengths and weaknesses for our 5th grade math, some local issues that kind of affect our reports, and some goals that we will have for next year. So first, our demographics. For Pinecrest, you can see 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we have around 180, 190 kids. For 5th grade, our black females, black males, you can see there were 40 black females, 31 black males, and white females, you have about 49, and white males 53. So we're pretty much half and half here at Pinecrest. So, what is STAR benchmark? It's taken 3 times a year. We take it in the fall, the winter, and the spring. The categories and levels, you have at or above benchmark, which is known as green. That's where we want the students. Then you have the below benchmark, which are your on watch, your intervention, and your urgent intervention. We are constantly trying to move our kids from blue to green. Those are the ones we focus on a lot more. Of course, we focus on our yellow and red, but we really try to move our blues to greens and then move the rest of them up as well. And we use STAR benchmark it shows growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So, progress monitoring. All students are tested once a month, give or take. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Tier 2 and Tier 3 students are tested every other week, especially your Tier 3 students. They are tested more in your other classrooms. Then you have the scores are used to show growth. And the results that we give teachers the understanding of the skills not mastered, because we can actually go into STAR and it'll tell us different skills that the students still need to work on. So, in the fall, and remember this is for 5th grade math, they had to score at or above a 685 scale score or at or above a 65 percentile ranking. So you can see the green is where we want the kids. We have 80 in green, 63 in blue, 22 in yellow, and 4 in red. And usually the 4 in red are our special needs students, but we do try to, by the end of the year, move them to the yellow. And most of the time we do. So you can see we do have a good chunk in green, but we still have 89 who are below. And so this is the group of students we want to try to get up here by the end of the year. So in winter, this was taken before we got out for Christmas break. As you can see, the scaled score goes up every time they take the test. So in winter, they actually had to score above a 706 or 65 to be able to meet benchmark. As you can see, whatever we did during that time worked, because now we have 102 at or above, where we have only 67 below. So far, so good. Then, at the end of the year, our spring benchmark kind of went down a little bit from the winter. And you can see though, the scaled score still went up even more. So at the end of the year, to benchmark, they had to have around a 734. At about 56% and about 44%. And some of that may be testing at the very end of the school year, because school year at the end is so hectic. Kids are done, kids are not trying, so that's part of it. So here's our growth report. What you can see, the pretest, the average score for scaled score was 674 at the beginning of the year. At the end it was 734. So we had a growth of about 60 scaled score points. And for the percentile ranking, we had about a 3-point increase. So we did move kids in 5th grade, and that was a plus. So for Miss Bullett's classes, this is her scores and how much she moved her students. In her morning class, you can see 55 points when scaled score went up, and 61 points in her afternoon class, which is very good. Then for Miss Everson's class, she actually had 3 classes, morning, middle, and afternoon. And you can see her morning class had a huge growth, which is awesome. And then her middle had about a 36-point growth, and her afternoon had about a 68-point growth. So that's awesome. You can see that we are all moving the students. And then for my classes, My morning class went up about 56 scale points and my afternoon about 65. So we were all about right there together. But at least we all showed growth, which is a very definite positive. So some of our strengths. I was able to pull this off of STAR, and it kind of ranked where the kids fell, at or above, kind of in the middle, or low. They did not master the skill at all based on the test they had taken. These were the standards that were our strongest based on STAR. That may not be the same when we get our SPIRE data at the end. It's just how the questions are worded. So one of our strengths was analyzing patterns and relationships, represent and interpret data, graph points on the coordinate plane to solve real-world and mathematical problems, classify two-dimensional figures. This kind of surprised me. I was definitely proud of that because that has been our weaknesses in the past. So that shows that the teachers have done a great job this year getting students to understand those classifying two-dimensional figures. And then also analyze patterns and relationships. Oops, have that one on there twice. So some of our weaknesses. Understanding the place value system. I know that sounds kind of silly, but that's one of our weaknesses. But it's kind of because of how the questions are worded. And they're multi-step as well. Use equivalent fractions. Fractions are always hard for 5th grade. Apply and extend previous understandings of multiplication and division to multiply and divide fractions. That is only introduced in 5th grade. So they still need a little bit more practice before they can master that. Convert like measurements. That's standard and metric. So that's kind of difficult for students as well. And geometric measurement. Geometric is the volume, and that's hard for students to kind of visualize sometimes. So some of the issues that are causing our scores to maybe not be exactly where we want them to be. A lot of our students live in poverty. They do not have that parental support at home that they need to be successful. They don't have their parents behind them saying, you can do this, do the best you can. A lot of ours is behavioral issues. In the classroom, outside of the classroom, them being sent to ISS, OSS, they're missing classroom instruction, which causes test scores to go down. And another big thing is our low reading levels. Math, a lot of the time, has reading questions. They are, those word problems. Students can't read, they can't answer the math questions. They may know how to do the skill, but if they can't read what it's asking, they can't do it. So that's a big problem here. So some of our goals. We want to have more students score at or above benchmark. We want more students to show growth in our 2017-18 school year. We want more strengths and, of course, less weaknesses. All right, anybody have any questions? I know all of y'all are 5th grade, so y'all have looked at this before. I know if math teachers have really analyzed it, so there's probably not any questions because we study this so much here at Pinecrest because we use it in our classrooms. We look at it, we see what skills the students are not understanding, and then we go back and reteach and retest so the students do understand it. So I appreciate y'all being here, listening to it. Thank y'all.